right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Dash, double honors to the elders and apostles of the millstone who do well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom, Barakatham. And I kind of want to feel like, what's the famous announcer, Bruce Buffer, where he yells out, "Are you ready?" Or it's time, because the buildup in news, if you've been paying attention, all right, it's very much looking like this thing could very well blow. And I'm clean. All right, and you have the Israel-Palestine thing blowing up, which we knew, by the way, that this election cycle was going to get heated. I mean, you can pretty much feel it basically ever since this woman Kamala got anointed, okay, as the nominee, which I believe they already chose her. All right, that's how it goes in America. The elections are just, it's really just a bullshit formality they do to keep the people asleep. But ever since that's been a lot of tension. All right, and this is going on the back of what? Presidential assassination attempts, 2 of them now. All right, now we got this supply chain thing bubbling up, and basically they're at war now over there in Lebanon. Like, they're not even hiding it anymore. Like, Netanyahu is like, yeah, we're basically just going to go ahead and wage war, and they've been talking about that since earlier in the year, man. And that's why I always said that eclipse we had earlier in the year, that represented a new time period that we're getting ready to go into. Lord's will, this is the final time period of Jacob's trouble, okay? Because that eclipse, man, it basically marked a 7-year period from the 2017 one to the one to this year. That makes an X across America, and we all know all eyes are on America here, to these Americans. And what are Americans going through right now, man? Chronic inflation. People can't afford their bills, their groceries. They're going on strikes everywhere. All right, now the strike that's going on now, it's getting ready to hurt everybody, because UPS going on strike is one thing, or General Motors going on strike is one thing, or the Boeing employees, which they all went on strike, that's one thing. All right, where air travel is just shut down. But when goods and supplies cannot get here to America, to a country that doesn't make anything, it's going to get really, 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 really bad. All right, and if you know anything about how the American supply chain works, it's designed to give basically the military control. When Eisenhower created the modern day highways, the interstate systems, all right, that was to allow for the mobility of troops and emergency goods to go across the country outside of the railroad system, quickly and easily inside of cities, in and out. All right, but what did it do also? It also stopped a lot of local farms from making their own food. So basically, you got these big giant farms. Most food comes from either Tyson Foods or Monsanto, and they all get trucked in across the interstates. Okay, so they can bottleneck and make a famine just like that overnight, man. They can probably shut down maybe 5 or 10 main U.S. highways, and that would slow food delivery down enough to where people will all be out here killing each other, man, fighting for everything. All right. On top of that, people just don't have the money to do basic things, man. All right. And watch what happens when people can't afford basic things like their power bill. All right, or they just didn't have enough for groceries and rent this month. All right, people are going to start doing what? They're going to start stealing. All right, when people start stealing, violence, physical violence is the next thing to come. All right, and we can feel this thing like no other. We met in Chicago, a few weeks ago, and it was an eerie feeling there about how it just felt like we were meeting. In my opinion, it felt like we were meeting for one last time. That's how it felt, Not to say we won't ever see the brothers again on this side, but it felt like we were at a point where, we had our final meeting, and then we're gonna all go our own ways and be tested to a certain degree. know, and this is why the fear of the Lord is paramount. This is why the Lord gives you examples of men who do the right thing, like the apostles and elders, and He gives you examples of men who don't do the right thing, all right, who take the truth for granted, all right, they don't want to follow orders, they get tired, they get weak, or they get distracted, all right, and they basically end up turning their back against the Most High, okay, and you don't want to be likened unto Lot's wife, okay, which is a monument of rebellion. I believe that's the correct term. You know, a perpetual monument of rebellion, because that's what that represents. When she looked back after she was told explicitly not to look back, then that's all the Lord needed to see right there. All right, and you don't want to be those guys who don't necessarily do nothing wicked or anything, but you turn and look back, and to be honest, that is wicked, because if you know who the Most High is and how He gets down, and you to turn your back on Him basically means you're not fit for the kingdom, okay? And we want to pay close attention to these times, man. Start going into these articles, all right? Start rehashing the prophecies, you know, the timeline between World War III, Jacob's trouble, World War III, the war in heaven, and the deliverance, okay? Because that's basically where we are, right? We're at the sixth trumpet, and the seventh one is getting ready to blow. When the seventh one blows, America's destroyed, and we ain't got to worry about none of this anymore, okay? What we got to worry about now is being of the number that's not going to be destroyed. The first resurrection is Yahweh Shai preached about, okay? So the October surprise, it seems like it's coming early, or we're going to have an even bigger surprise, which I believe that's going to be the case. I think, you know, the stock market is one black swan event, or one major cataclysm away from crumbling, all right? And the strikes that they got going on, that could very well do it. And not only would the stock market crumble, but people's hopes would crumble, because their ability to do things day to day, it would be significantly inhibited, okay? Because people don't speak the language of they don't understand to get their life together when they see danger or wickedness afar off. See, they got to actually be touched by it. They know what's going on, what Esau's been doing in the Middle East. He's been fomenting war, trying to start World War III. All right, he's got sanctions on everybody. The Americans know this, but they don't care, because they figure it's afar off. But the scriptures say a prudent man, when he seeth evil, all right, he takes action. All right, and these Americans have not taken any action. They've tolerated the same politicians, and now those politicians are about to get hands put on you, and they themselves are responsible for having all of these migrants come into America. All right, so the danger is not even afar off. They're already stateside. Okay, this is why we move with the fear of the Lord, man, and we don't worry about anything else. We don't worry about looking crazy. We don't worry about what people are gonna say about us. All right, and that's the spirit of the Lord that's on us to do that, because nobody's gonna be able to say they didn't have a chance. Nobody's gonna say they didn't know. All right, the gospel has been preached pursuant to Matthew 28, and we're hoping to be of that number. We're staying diligent, and we're locking in, man. All right, so pay close attention and push harder, man. Push out more videos if you got it in you. All right, pray for more, a double portion of your spirit, as Elisha prayed, man. So you can be in this thing, man. All right, now is the time to go, you know, harder than ever. You know, Lord's will. This is the end. You know, so I'll end it there, man. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call hello Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rachak Wadash. On to the next. Shalom.